She may be weak and unable to walk on her own, but the mark she left in Uganda's legislative history will always remain dotted. When we did an interview with her in 2017, she was due to celebrate her birthday in November of that year, when she would turn 100. Florence Alice Lubega was the first female member of parliament. She joined the Legislative Council in 1957 and later the Independent Parliament in 1962, an experience she recounts.
Uganda was a big Uganda, very independent. I was the only woman in the parliament.
The legislative process at the time is said to have been progressive until the 1966 crisis. Prime Minister Dr. Apollo Milton Obote fell out with the Kabaka of Buganda, Sir Edward Mutesa II. Professor Moris Ogenga Latigo, whose kinsmen wrote Matayo Lamott and Antonio Poa were part of the Legislative Council, attests to this.
At independence, the legislatures of Uganda were no different from those of the UK. The opposition argued their case, the government side argued their case, and the best ideas got taken and used nationally.
Professor Latigo, who joined the Ugandan parliament in 2001, says the country's legislature has not strove to go back to the old standards. To him, this has disadvantaged the locals that entrust MPs with their mandate.
From the 1995 Constitution, we have had at least 4 parliaments. In my own view, the parliament that came in as a movement parliament in '96 had the kind of people that represented the past.
The first leader of opposition since the return to multi-party politics in 2006 recounts the situation of the 1970s. There was no parliament during the presidency of Idi Amin, underscoring the need to learn from history.
That element that whatever we do, we must reflect on the past and consider the future and make sure that we learn from the past and build a better future for our country.
Professor Latigo expresses worry over what will become of the next parliament, whose quality he has reservations for.
The challenge is bigger than parliament. What you see is reflective of even the electorate. Ask yourself, what kind of electorate would, for example, tell me, Honorable Professor Latigo, because I brought them electricity, the electorate says we don't eat electricity.
He wants establishment of what he describes as a lower parliament to enable quality and mature debates.
My big fear is that unless we sit down again as a country, like Kenya has repeatedly done, go through a constitutional process and work out how to review what our legislature is supposed to be about. What is the appropriate number that constitutes effective representation? And if need be, do like they have done in Kenya. Create another level, just like the UK as House of Lords, like the US as a Senate. Create another level where the lower legislature can then get checked and there will be a balance.
These assertions come at a time Uganda is celebrating 100 years of legislation with the Legislative Council recorded to have been established in 1921. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Yeah.